talking and texting.
Talking and texting and videotaping and all kinds of stuff. And
welcome to the Chopp Shop, you know.
Welcome to the Chopp Shop. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm your host, Cash. And I got
Nabi
right here.
Nabi's here.
He's right here.
He's right here. And I don't know how to use my phone, so yeah.
What you got? One of the new mobile? You got one of the new mobile phones?
Yes. I don't know what the hell. Like I'm trying to turn it around. How do you turn it around here? Show me how to do it.
We're
technically inept here.
Camera with that little flip around.
That's a flip around. I got it.
That little flip around.
Hi, Mark. Who else is watching?
What they say?
Jerry's watching. Hi, Jerry. Michael. Hi, Michael. Tommy's watching. John, Santa Maria. Hi, John. Scenarios. Scenarios. How do I say your name, Paul? Scenarios.
Scenarios.
What's the scenarios?
Hi, Paul. Thanks for tuning in.
Here we go, yo.
This is me and Cash's show until 9.
So we're taking advantage of the time he's not here.
So I'm going to put this like right here.
You can put that right there.
Yeah.
You guys can also go check out the show.
Or you can go check out the show.
UZD.world. The backstage, the inner workings of what goes on, because sometimes we show videos and you don't get to see the videos if you're watching through Facebook.
Right.
So it's good.
And the videos are they like local?
We have Beth is my co-host here. You know what I'm saying? And
Cash is my co-host.
That's
And there's Josh, sound and engineering. He's the man who figures it all out. Because I'm too inept in that situation.
He's our Gilman the third.
Yep. And we're all sick, so we got tissue.
So I don't usually get sick. I just have like a leaky nose. That wasn't really sick. That was like a stomach bug. That was like.
That is sick.
Yeah, okay, we'll call it sick. That was the first time.
No, that was like I'm a man and I don't get sick.
No, I got sick for that day. I was sick. Last time I got sick before that was like 2 years ago for like the same thing basically. And the next day I was okay. I don't usually get sick. I have like my nose will be like running a little bit for the whole entire winter. No, the whole winter. Yeah, but I won't get sick. It's like I'm just like a little bit sick.
That's a great way to meet girls.
Well, what?
Usually Cash has more dates in the summer because his nose runs all winter long.
It's like a puppy, you know.
Like a little puppy. When he gets happy, his nose gets wet.
Yeah. It happens.
It does. It does happen.
That's my my natural flu shot.
It is.
Yeah.
Nonsense. There's a scientific explanation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we got a special guest today.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a neat thing because she's only, how old is she? 19?
I don't think she's that old. I think she's younger than that.
She's younger than that. She's like still in high school, right?
I believe so.
And she's going to.
She's number one in the boxing group in her age. I actually watched her fight earlier. But there's not a lot of information. She's been fighting since she was like 11. There's not a lot of information about her online.
Yeah.
But I did watch the fight that she had when she moved up to number one. And she's really good.
She's that's pretty amazing. She's going. Is she going to the Olympics?
I'm not sure. We're gonna find out.
So she's on her way to the Olympics at 19, and she holds the record.
Is she like Sierra Martinez? She's 19. How old is she? She's not 19. She's like at least like 15.
She's only 15.
Yeah.
She's only 15, and she's heading toward the Olympics. Like
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
she's number one. She's number one in the country in her age group. So. You know.
Yeah, she's so we're looking forward to interviewing her.
Yeah, because she doesn't have like Wikipedia. I did watch a couple of her interviews.
Well, it's because she's underage. Probably not a lot of stuff about to put her.
And
it's you got to still talk to her coach.
It's women's boxing.
Yeah.
It's women's boxing too. So it's not like as popular as men's boxing, obviously.
No, but Supposedly at like 11 years old, she was boxing people 2 or 3 years older than her, right? Right nowadays?
Yeah, a little bit older. Yeah. Sometimes it all goes. It doesn't by age. It goes by weight.
No, no, I'm pretty sure.
No, the
age is like a couple years broad, right? It's like
I'm pretty sure there's a little age gap. They're not gonna have a fight like like a 12-year-old fighting like a 15-year-old or something like that.
No, but it said in the article that she parred with
I guess it depends.
People who are a lot older.
It depends on the skill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna just make you fight in that, like that. But if you're skilled enough to do it, yeah, of course. Like Mike Tyson won the championship when he was 18 years old.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So it depends on the skill.
Yeah, and
we'll find out if I'm correct when they get.
How's her technique? You saw a thing.
Yeah, man. She was
pretty good.
She was pretty good. She's really good. The other girl bought it too. She was up in her face. It was a good fight, man. It was like
there was no fear. There's no fear, man.
It made me realize how competitive girls are when it's like.
Well, you put a little muscle on it, even with the bikini and the figure. I mean, they're all really nice to each other, but there's this competition.
Yeah, man. When women go at each other, they go at each other. Like the guys, most dudes are scared of each other, man. I'll tell you the truth.
No, really?
Oh yeah.
Well, boxing started out as a man's world, so like they got a lot to prove, So.
No, well, I'm just saying even nowadays, but not like more so nowadays. But even like you'll see the 2 biggest dudes in boxing like about to fight each other. It's like the girls come out.
Boom, 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 boom. Well, even the kickboxers. Did you ever see those? What do they call those? The kickboxers that are in the cage.
Muay Thai. They don't have.
UFC.
Yeah,
UFC fighting.
Mixed
martial arts.
You're freaking crazy.
There's UFC and mixed martial arts are 2 different things, right? Because UFC is
UFC is the federation, like the corporation. UFC is like.
Well, what kind of fighting is it?
It's mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts.
Yes, they call it. So mixed martial arts could be like one person will be better at fight, hand to hand, kicking like kickboxer.
Yeah.
Another guy might be judo. Another guy might be jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. So that's why they call it mixed martial arts. It's like a mixture of all types of fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's like really cause like Kimbo Slice, he started from the backyard fighting. They went to MMA, UFC.
Yeah.
Started doing mixed martial arts. And he was terrible at grappling and wrestling, but he had hands.
He had the hands.
Yeah. So that's like.
How did Kimbo die?
I think he had a heart attack.
Sounds juice.
I doubt it. Kimbo.
I don't want to make that assumption. I'm just saying.
No. I doubt Kimbo on the juice. He's like one of the bigger guys. Like those big, like football players and shit, man. And they eat a lot. Back in the day, those football players would go to McDonald's, eat fucking 3 Big Macs, 2 large fries and a milkshake. They go lift weights and play football and shit. That's what a lot of football players.
I hate to say this, but when I was 11, I could eat 3 Big Macs. No problem.
And people would do
and
it.
French fries.
And people would do it.
It's like air. McDonald's was like air now and still is.
Yeah. But back then, like people had they didn't care about fucking health, especially them big guys, the football players and stuff that woke up. And that's why you see a lot of football players dying early. Having heart attacks and stuff like that.
Was it because of the size too much? Like Andre the Giant had that issue too, right? Well, he had the guard. What do they call that? The thing when you're really big, the guard shit.
Yeah, I forget what this was
called.
Giant something. Yeah, you got complications when you're that big, man.
I think it's because what it is the body is growing, but the heart can't necessarily
take that size.
Might not be.
I don't think I can.
That's alright.
A lot of small people have complications too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? It's after you stop moving. It's like the farmers, when they retire, like they eat like all kinds of crappy, food.
Oh, when they're done farming,
they they keep eating the same foods, like heavy laden fats and all kinds of stuff, and then they're super healthy while they're working, but then once they stop moving, they're like, retirement. Boom, they just die.
Hey, they die.
They just die. It's true. They did a study.
Yes, sir.
So what do we got? We were waiting for you. Where you going? You seem very contemplative.
I was looking at some things. And you know the big things that Kevin Spacey was in. What was it? Cape Cod? Is it? Was that?
Nantucket.
Nantucket. One of those places. He was out there to go to court, and you know R. Kelly things, and you know running rampant and crazy in the social media and on the internet, and now I see a pattern developing here.
What is it?
Kevin Spacey's brother goes on the stand and says their father was molesting them when they were kids.
Then R. Kelly's
brother goes up there and say his sister molested both of them while they were kids. So here we go. So this was going to be. It's going to be the excuse, and the excuse their actions.
You think that people, so basically
people are gonna start using that. I got tested as a kid. I got this and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So I said like, oh, here we go with this. Like lawyers, probably one lawyer come up with it, boom, you got the other lawyer use it. Here we go. We gotta get somebody else to come in and say it, because if you say it, it's not like as genuine. So a family member has to come in, and fucking cooperate the story. So
you think that? So basically, what you're saying is based on what we're saying now is that
because it came out of nowhere.
Kevin Spacey and R. Kelly's brother, people have been coming up and what they've been saying is that they were molested. But like, isn't that?
Well, no. They go to court. Now that they're in court,
yeah,
they're coming out, and other people, their relatives are coming out saying,
yeah,
we not just them, we were molested by the same person. Like basically coming up.
So you think it's an excuse or you think it's legitimate? Like, what do you
Who knows? But I'm just saying, it's not a coincidence that it both in both cases, this is what we're talking about now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now it's gonna start bringing sympathy. And well, it could bring some sympathy to people that have been molested as kids. You know what I'm saying? Because it says that statistics, I guess you want to say.
As far as people being molested?
Show that people that have been molested when they were kids turn around and ultimately do it to other kids when they get older.
Isn't that one of those things like kids being victims and seeing domestic violence? Isn't that like a similar thing? Like what I'm saying is like usually the numbers are split.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Sometimes like a 50-50 split. Like for instance, like
you can have a set of twins. One can go one way, and one can go the other.
Well, what I meant is like if you see domestic violence, you get molested. Like there's you
can go far. Like
you become a molester yourself, or you could be the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And just like somebody, for instance, like people like
me that
grew up without a dad.
It goes to drugs
I could
too.
either not be a bad dad like my dad, or I could try to be the complete opposite. And
be a great dad because my dad was a piece of shit.
Or like somebody who
used drugs. Also, like your parents used drugs or alcohol.
Twins. And twins. There's a set of twins with alcoholic parents, and one twin. One twin would go one way, one twin would go the other way. Mm-hmm. And the one twin made it clear that he never wanted to go that way. Yeah. But the one that went in that direction really didn't have like it's almost like one had reflection and one didn't enough to change, and or self-awareness to change.
Yeah.
That kind of brings us into the whole.
It brings us into the whole responsibility.
Well, I was
going to
say
actions.
And the nature over nurture thing. Like because some of it is also genetics, right? Like
right.
Partially is genetics. I think that.
But I think environment plays a huge role in a lot of things.
It is just the whole thing. It's just a whole huge subject because like there's so many people that are like coming out about and I think it's crazy that people really believe that this is something new. All of these like sexual cases and all this other stuff that people think it's a new thing. I don't think it's a new thing. I just think that the way our culture has changed is why we're learning about it. Because like many years ago, like, you know, if you came from a family and then the husband beat the wife or whatever he did, like you didn't talk about it. Even if he was a devil, you still didn't talk about it. You kept it in house in the family and you dealt with it. Now we're more like, you know what? My uncle touched me, or my my uncle touched me, or my father was abusive, or our culture's changed. Like we're more open about what's been done to us. Do you think, or do you think it's more that it's happening more? What do you think?
No, I think it's more open, but it's also more. But there's also a question that we're not talking about. And the question, or even questioning, is why do people bring it up? Like, it's almost like we have an ulterior motive, like Kevin Spacey. Like, how can you, if you're going to be so bold as to be blatant about doing something like that, and then being so bold, don't come up with an excuse for why you did it. Just say that you did it and take the consequences.
I just think that people are ashamed of what they do until it comes into the light. Like a mentor of mine always said that, like, do everything like you're walking in the sun. Meaning, like, don't ever do anything that. And I've messed this up. I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect. I messed it up plenty of times. But I'm just saying, a mentor, a teacher of mine. And when I say a teacher, I'm in school. I mean like a real teacher. Like, you know, the studies I've had and the mentors and stuff. Said, walk like you always walk in the sun, like everybody can see you. Meaning, like, don't do anything behind closed doors that you would be ashamed of if it got brought to the light.
Right.
And then no one could ever say anything about you.
Right.
Yes.
Make sure you do things like who you are in front of people is who you should be behind closed doors.
Walk up to the sun.
But that's what they were saying. Like the thing about it, like, so Kevin, let's keep it focused though. Like, so Kevin Spacey.
You keep focused.
So because it's such a big subject.
It's a huge subject.
I don't know where to. It's such a huge subject. I don't know where to attack it from. So let's deal with it by the piece that you brought up. So Kevin Spacey is accused of improperly touching a waiter, right?
Yeah.
But what about the other shit that happened when somebody said that he was drunk and he said, well, maybe I was drunk and I don't remember. So it's.
And how many of us have done that? Drunk and didn't remember doing something.
I don't think I've ever touched a male waiter, hopefully.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Right. Nah, he touched a male rapper.
I know I have. Did I?
I touched Keith Murray's ass, but it was an accident. It only happened twice in 6 months. So Kevin Spacey was accused, right? Twice, right?
What he's going to court for right now.
It's a news pattern.
I don't know. He's a weird guy anyway.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady. Or man, for that matter.
That shit one more time.
And then
turn the microphone on.
so his defense in the defense they brought up.
Well, that's not his defense. It's just like, yeah, of course. I mean, I guess his defense. Yeah, he was part of his defense. It's his brother come testify.
He looks so timid.
Yeah, but how can
Video.
he was like that in the video, but then he posted a video of him.
Yeah, as one of his characters.
Characters.
Yeah, so it's crazy shit. It was weird.
An actor to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine digging the actor, the actress. She be like, she bust out crying and shit. Then you walk away. So you turn around, she walk away.
You know more about this than us. Well, do you think that it's a sticky territory when we deal with Spacey? Because what I'm saying is, just because he's a good actor, it doesn't mean he's acting, or it doesn't mean he's lying. But what I'm saying is like, okay, I'm Al Pacino, and you come at me with a crime.
You scared you're gonna be able to read him? He goes straight into one of his characters. Yes, they.
I think so, though. I know people in movies that are great at.
You ever see Jamie Foxx?
Yeah, but you have to understand how the movies go. So the movies
You
do that scene. You do that scene like 10 times in a row, and they pick one. You're on stage. Well,
to be an actor is to dive into a character and just and give you a script, act.
All right. So
I see Will Smith go in and out of character. Jamie Foxx, I see him do it.
No, I can say this. You can believe
you are one of the characters.
You are a character in that
Get
moment.
stuck at one of the. But
when he grabs somebody's ass,
no.
And that he wasn't playing the actor he was playing.
So now we're saying that
if he's a method actor, how do you know he's not watching?
So in other words, it's because he could go, no, Your Honor, with straight face. I've never done that.
Yeah, because like he did with his character. For example,
actually, he could use that as a good defense.
In the video,
right?
Why not? Like.
But this is what I'm saying.
To an actor instead of seeing PS.
So I would have to say say
PTSD.
No, that's self-imposed.
That's being.
That's self-imposed PTSD.
That's being PS. I can't even say it. I have to say
PYT, pretty young things touch it.
I can't even say that. I have to say it.
but you know, this is a slippery
That's me
slope.
and PTSD.
You don't
I accept half-baked theories that sell in newspapers. I'm a scientist, not an alarmist.
Character, Your Honor. So we got Kevin Spacey. Now you got R. Kelly up on the podium.
Yeah,
right?
what did R. Kelly do?
His brother was in the interview. His brother did the interview and he
And
said
then he said to the
that.
sister.
I think R. Kelly has
What
said
did R.
something like that
Kelly do?
before.
I didn't hear.
They say R. Kelly touched.
Well, let's talk about what R. Kelly has done.
Yeah.
He was 15 years old. Like literally went to.
How old was he?
I want to say 20s. Late 20s. His late 20s, I want to say. And he took because he did our first album. He produced and wrote.
And they fell in love.
Them going on like a show and like one of those shows, I don't know, one of the award shows, and they were like, oh, so how old are you? And he said his age 20 something. They go, well, what about you? How old are you? And she was like, shh.
No.
Something like that. No,
That
they said I was
age
reading
didn't
about
remember, I
that.
think.
They had said that someone they wanted to show somewhere or something. And somebody had said something. She was like, shh.
Because the first name, that's the name of her first album. Produced by and R. Kelly in the back. It's not a joke. And the album cover is literally R. Kelly like this, and she's in the front, and it says AJ number.
Right?
Yeah, right. So,
We didn't know.
All right, so what did he do now, though?
all right, so
All right,
then
so
he married Aaliyah, forged an age, went out to somewhere in Vegas, whatever. So they had to get that annulled. They vacated almost.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Not a divorce, but it wasn't really official.
She like avoided it, like it never happened. And so then he did like a sex video back in the day, like around the early 2000s.
With a couple of adult women.
It was basically like R. Kelly in the beginning, and at the end,
It was an
he had a artist that named Sparkle, and I think Sparkle's dad used to do music for R. Kelly too, and it ended up being Sparkle's niece, whatever. The video that's the girl. So he peed that.
Peed on the girl.
Yeah, basically video.
Some people speculate it was his brother because they look.
I say that R. Kelly offered him like 30 grand. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of money to say that it was him, but he wouldn't do it.
His brother said that?
Yeah.
Toronto's own brother?
Yeah, basically. And, you know, she ended up not showing up to court, whatever. I guess they probably just paid her off. The young girl, she ended up going to court. So he got off. He got off with that. But, you know, everybody's seen the video. So then that's been going on. So now all of a sudden, for some reason, I don't know why, they want to bring up that he has like sex slaves or he's keeping these girls on
I played a clip. This was before you came on the show. This was probably a year ago. I had played a clip on the show, and there was this girl that was with R. Kelly, and the stuff, and she made a video saying, "Oh, I'm all set." She said, "I'm all set, I'm okay." And then the father went right in front of R. Kelly's house or whatever.
Yeah, like
and made a video like, "My daughter's inside. She's keeping us." This was about a year, maybe 2 years ago. But now, more recently, a bunch of other people had underage people and this and that. And the big thing that's really been causing a lot of shockwaves is that they lifetime thing called Survivor R. Kelly. And it was a bunch of people that are R. Kelly survivors.
No, let's not say that. The being survivor or near death
experience.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
They're
it's
just tied up and tortured.
Not even tortured. Just let's do what R. Kelly said.
So basically, he's just an abuser, and because he has money and
women found out.
with a harem. He's got a harem. So technically, if you move to the Middle East,
the fact that he's having sex with the women, the issue is the
nobody said it. The women are not underage that saying he had used them as sex slaves. They just fucking with R. Kelly. They just want to, I don't know. They just,
stuff in situations.
He got a section. He has a section. No, not these girls not underage. He would have been in jail.
He's got to learn from rock musicians. You just do a show. You go sign autographs. The girls want to have sex with you. You go backstage. You go have sex.
There's an interview he did with what's the dude named Teray. And Teray's like, so do you like teenage girls? Your boy said,
who does?
What do you mean by teenage? That's just funny. It's not funny, but it's funny as hell when you see it when they say, by teenage. Yeah. Well, you know, so he got a problem, man. He definitely has a problem. But like I'm saying, like I said before,
but he's
unless these women are getting held against right, and tell them they couldn't leave, and they go on TV and say, I couldn't leave and I couldn't do this, well, he shouldn't be in jail, right? Well, they're investigating him now, but he should have been in jail. All it takes for me to say,
if he was a regular guy, Joe Schmo, you like Cash, you'd be.
You can't leave here. He got arrested for kidnapping. Right? So I don't understand how they're trying to make it.
Works against you. If the media likes you, they're gonna you're gonna get away with it.
There was somebody online, people say all kinds of stuff, but there was somebody online that said they were from Chicago, and they were saying that if you were from Chicago, you would know stuff.
Yeah, I believe it.
Entice young women.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at the backstory, you know that he has that tendency. He has that tendency. Yeah. So nobody's questioning that. But what they're talking about right now has nothing to do with any of these. I mean, it's almost like I said, go back to the OJ thing. You know, once if they get him for doing something this one, like kidnapping or having these women as sex slaves, whatever you want to call it, they're gonna put him the OJ move on him. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna lock him up because for what he got away with last time. Like I said, excuse me, if he did something illegal, we holding him against their will, then he should be getting arrested for kidnapping, right? But he's not. But he's getting investigated now. But before that,
what do you think the drive behind this whole R. Kelly thing is then, if that's the case?
Maybe he's paying him off.
I don't know, man. Maybe he's, I don't know.
I think that
because like I see memes of people saying like we already knew this, like this is what we already knew. You guys, but I don't know.
So, do you think that famous, because it's something that's been like the last couple of years out of the blue, I don't know where all of a sudden all kinds of famous people are getting put on blast for their sexual misconduct.
I see the meme well, not really meme, but I seen something that said, Foxy Brown came out and said that she was 14. You know what I'm saying?
With Jamie Foxx. Jay-Z was banging that NBA player that was the Rockaware model or whatever.
Yeah, then Puffy got his first baby's mom pregnant 16. When she was 16 and all
But this is nothing new. I mean, go back to Elvis, go back to Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, they all had teenage...
Let's talk about Hugh Hefner, 10 years old, posing basically almost completely nude.
No, that was, her mom was there with her.
Yeah, but that still doesn't...
But
that makes it worse.
Well, I know, but they agreed to it, so it's...
Yeah, but just so there are mothers that agree to let their kids be molested for drugs. So it doesn't. Hugh Hefner was putting underage girls in Playboys in the 70s, bro. Like people try to.
Yeah, but he wasn't having sex with them.
How do we know this?
Well, we don't, but.
This is the whole thing is that we need to start addressing it and start talking about it. But I think that.
And it was crazy. I was listening to the radio earlier, and they said something about R. Kelly's looking to leave the country, and they were just joking around. What country did he go to? They go to Germany. The age of consent in Germany, it was like 14. So my question is, I just thought about this, and I'm like, why would if people were doing it way back then when they made these laws and these ages of consent, if they were actually doing it, the people that were laws based, why would they make the age of consent so high if they were doing it like just
why
if there's other countries countries that's out there like 14, and there's other countries like 12 and 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would they make it so high if they, with the like, not saying the masses, but there are people doing it and they knew about it, You know what I'm saying? That's weird.
In the first place, it's because there's some sort of like uproar, like something was happening over and over again, right? And they had to do something, so they always wait till the last minute and then they make a law, and then you know what I mean?
Very true.
So I wonder if that. I wonder
makes sense,
since we weren't there. I'm wondering if like.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because people, I mean, they weren't doing it because people get married to 14-year-old girls back in the day, 12-year-old girls, and they was like grown men. You know what I'm saying? Like, so man, I'm pretty sure that was that. You're probably right. Yeah, that makes no sense.
They had to make a law.
That's how it usually works.
Something
There
else.
had to be something that happened.
Yeah.
It is something I wanted to talk about, but I might wait till next week because I think I might want to prepare a piece on it because it's a subject that's going to take up, and I don't want to get into too many dark subjects because we also got to lighten up the movie to a certain degree. But we all, decent human beings, can agree that having sex with a child is wrong. There's no right way around it. But the idea of it all, at the end of the day, is that, you know, when we look at these people and we focus on people around us, or are we just judging these famous people? Because like somebody was saying, like there was a couple of memes, a couple of things online, and they were saying, like, everybody's mad about Kelly, this and that. But what about the Catholic Church? What about their uncle? What about their cousin? What about their boy? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying, R. Kelly, Spacey, and all these other people.
You know, I think
more about is attacking the whole mindset and culture of that kind of stuff.
I think R. Kelly is worse because we actually seen it.
And we know about it.
Well, no, we actually.
It bothers us because there's a dark side to everybody. And we don't like to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
And unless we can.
Yeah, I agree.
But
you know what I'm saying? Like,
the R. Kelly thing, like.
And what did Maya Angelou said? She said, "I am a human being." So that means I judge somebody else, and you weren't there. That you know, someday you're gonna walk in someone's shoes. It may not be that particular thing, but you are definitely gonna you are going to be the dark human at one point, You know what I mean? Because we're all. When you realize that, you can see the good in other people too. People fuck up all the time, and we don't know because we weren't there.
People
and
fuck
that's
up.
The end.
Most people fuck up, and they don't want to.
They learn.
They don't want to. No, they take it up like this. They say, "I fucked up." Oh yeah, what I do? Like this, that like it never happened.
Yeah.
When you bring it up to them, they get mad. Or they deflect it on you.
I had that happen to me recently. I'm not going to go into details because it's.
Oh my God! Because of disclaimer, bro.
Because I can't. It's really deeply family.
But you have to tell us that.
But this is like somebody put me in a position where I didn't have the power that I needed on a family situation, and their excuse was that, back in the days, talking about over 10 years ago, you and I used to make bad choices together. And I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, me and another person, we're talking to some, like me and a couple of people. So you and I together made some mistakes together, right?
But you're not allowed to change.
But I'm out over 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a classic example of what a real snitch is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And this was used for. Like I said, I'll tell you guys when we get off camera, but this is the situation I was talking about that I recently made some progress and stuff like that. And
next time when you tell a story like this, use somebody else and not say what
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Oh, this friend of mine.
This motherfucker I used to know. That's the ugly ass bitch. He's ugly ass bitch.
Let's switch the subject. Let's go through a couple of knobby facts to open up the conversation. All right, Mike.
Introduce Mike.
If you don't got the automobile outside, don't
right there too.
People.
Mike Boston in the building, everybody! With the mobile stew, Mr. Mike Boston in the building. If you don't know, Mike Boston is an integral part of apparently. And the Slim Jim that I'm not gonna eat because there's pork mixed in there. And
you got a sticky cap on.
And
sticky cap.
Mike Mike, Mike is the founder of the Mobile
swimming
Studio.
cat was swimming. He about to do something. He about to think or swim.
The Mobile Studio.
He do sign language for everybody.
Mike is the founder of the Mobile Stew, which is a mobile studio that he outfitted into his truck that's been featured on CNN.
That we have featured.
MSNBC, I was in that documentary, actually rapping on that one.
Pilot.
And the pilot episode.
The original.
And then,
the one that we're doing for CNN.
And then Mike was given a vehicle
Yes.
to the people.
That's that one that's sitting right there. And which I'm very grateful for because my sister had it for a few months, went through some tragedy in my family, and was able to dish that off and use the other original mobile to keep myself like mobile. Anybody that takes transportation.
Yeah.
Everyone who can take
difficult. So the Mobile Stew is a beautiful full interview.
That's the movie show.
Yeah.
That's the Mobile Stew show. So we're gonna go into now B's facts.
All right, facts. Go ahead.
That's
All right, so Mike, we got 6 things here. Pick the number 1 through 6.
I'll pick number 3.
Like this.
Number 2. Okay. Fact number 3. You got it? You alright with that?
Yeah, I won't.
Nobby's facts.
All right, now these facts.
Number 3. Music by Tina Turner is used at the Gloucestershire, United Kingdom Air.
Is it that?
I think so. I don't know what that is. All I know is that this is a fact. If I bring up a fact,
Yeah, but which song?
I've already done research. They play her catalog, a couple of songs.
Just her.
I think it's the high pitched tone.
It's probably the old.
Vibration.
Yeah, it's not trying to
Like,
indicate that her music is horrible. Because I do like Tina Turner's
I love
music.
Tina Turner.
I think it's the intensity
Frequency range.
and the
It's her
frequency. For fact, I've done a little research on it to make sure that it's legitimate, not just like some. I don't take my facts.
Do you want us to answer, or do you want to wait till you do all of them?
No. Let's talk about it.
All right.
Let's talk about it. So what do you think about that? Like, if you were Tina Turner, and would you looking down from heaven or whatever?
She's not.
She's still alive.
There's $1 million insurance on her legs alone.
I thought she passed away or something like that.
No.
I'm talking about Tina Turner one.
Oh.
Was it SNL? But Tina Turner.
I can't believe that I can't believe that they could play it without, unless they were paying her a lot of money, and she's not one for
Royalties.
You don't need royalties to play somebody's music over the radio and
Yes.
public.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
If you're in a
like
public
that.
setting.
Yeah, you gotta pay.
Unless it's licensed. But you have them people
Like they do.
when you go into like a Kmart.
When you go
they got
into
companies
the
that
airport.
sell them the music that are licensed.
Or no, when you go to a bar and they have
playing
the
CNN on the TV.
But they're
You gotta
licensed
get
to
all
do
that
that.
CNN
Yeah,
on
you-
TV.
They are licensed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, the TV thing is
Just getting bread from this. I honestly thought she
like the birds that are flying away.
Yeah. I
But
didn't know
Tina's
that.
not I don't think Tina's the type for.
We're gonna have to look up
It's the private
what
dancer.
the involvement
She's a
is
private dancer.
with that.
That's a fun
Listen, I saw her
Oh, yeah, bird.
before.
was
She was wearing.
She
She was
I'm
5-inch
sorry,
heels,
Tina.
and
I
she
didn't
had
know.
more.
I
She
didn't
had
know,
more
Tina.
energy than any of the other dancers. She was just like, baby, look at Walter. And 5-inch heels.
She still looks like herself.
Yeah, totally. She was amazing, and she changed her outfit like 5 times. It was, the hit 70, and you're like, woo, you know.
You see why the random facts are important because it starts to build.
It does. I want to say no because I can't see her.
Honestly, the only thing I did research on was that I confirmed that is true that they do that.
Let's ask people.
All right. If anybody
If anyone knows.
if anybody knows out there, want to do the research and see what the deal is with that. But I didn't do research into whether or not she's directly connected with it. But I did do research that is confirmed that they have done that in the past before. It's been done before.
Or alive.
I don't want to answer. I don't want to answer the question because I don't want to bullshit and I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
So I don't.
All right.
So I
what do
move
you
on.
think? Do you think she would agree to that, or do you think?
I would, as long as it was giving my children my estate royalty. It could be.
Tina. You're making it for the birds, Tina.
Would you rather see yourself being useful in that way or on a porn?
That useful now.
I don't even know how that even.
I don't even know how you got
because
to
you use music. They can be playing that music on porn.
What was the correlation between 7-year-old Tina?
Because I don't want nothing.
I think you need to loosen up that hood a little bit. Lift the mic, boss.
Always getting at it too.
Shout out to the bro Mo Better tuned in. Whether
Shout out Mo Better.
On the live stream or you're watching, if you're not, listen, you gotta really, if you guys are watching now, a little bit of support goes a long way. We don't ask for your money. We don't even ask you to share. Just go onto the website. I'm going to put it in the comments. Just go on the website and make sure that you watch the real episode because that's how the views go up, man. Do that for us, you know what I mean? Just go on the website and just put a little info in there. You know what I'm saying? Just say a little something. You know what I mean? Just say Chop live show, and this is streaming right now. Make sure you tune in. So let's go. So we eliminated 3. So we got 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. What's next?
4. Unborn babies have been proven to hear and react to music.
Yes.
Now let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing to talk about.
Let's talk about it. I know, but let's talk.
What are we talking about?
Let's talk about it. Let's say that react and hear music. So there's like there's body motions and reactions. There's body motions and reactions to unborn babies. With like, what effect do you think that has though?
Like the babies can hear the parents' voice. You know what I'm saying? Like they already know your voice when they're born. You know what I mean? So,
do you think that music has the type of music effect?
Yeah, pretty sure. I would say so. Shit, the type of music have the same effect. I mean, not the same effect, but effect of plants and stuff. Like, right?
Well, then we talked about this before. Yeah. We talked about this before because, like, so the scientific study, the conclusive one, as far as because people believe plants have a consciousness and plants have feelings, and then there are people that don't. A book that really changed that was called The Secret Life of Plants. My memory's a little. Yeah, Secret Life of Plants. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm only going from memory, not from notes here. Mm-hmm. And then the study that really proved it, which would make sense for the babies, I talked about this before on the show, where they took the 3 boxes, right? I took 3 boxes and they took the same plant, same breed of plant, same seedlings from the same seed, from the same branches,
same everything,
and same everything. So it was exact. There was no difference. I mean, they basically pretty much naturally cloned it, and then they put it in 3 different boxes. And they made sure the boxes, they got air, they got the water, they got the sun, they got everything that they needed in these boxes, but they were also soundproof. But they made sure they got everything they needed. All 3 plants got the same amount of sun.
Get it, bro. We get it.
So, in the first box, they played no music. In the second box, they played classical music, Mozart, stuff like that. The third box, they played death metal. Death metal and shit, right? Yeah. Out of the 3, the first one grew normal, as a normal plant would. Right? The second one that was listening to classical music grew stronger and more vibrant than the one that didn't hear music. And the third one that listened to death metal died.
So, do you guys know the study on the crystals? The Japanese?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about crystal, you talk about the flash frozen.
No, the water frozen,
droplets.
the water droplets.
Yeah.
This was pretty.
Yeah.
This was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So he also did that with music.
Yeah, talk about
supposedly. So
same
thing. He did that with classical music and these beautiful crystals, like snowflakes, almost looking things.
Like they flash freeze the water from different places.
Yep. And then he'd label them, and he even just labeled them with like love or hate.
And they spoke words over them, right?
Yeah, or he spoke words over them and then he labeled them. But a lot of times he would label, like he would just label a jar and say love, and then and then put all this stuff in the freezer and microscope the crystals. And the crystals for all the good words like.
Just the simple words.
Just the simple words would form these most amazing crystals, and it's the same water, it's the same everything, and then he also had somebody bless a river, and they tested it before the blessing and then after the blessing, and they tested the water crystals before and after, and you can see a big huge difference in the size of the crystals, the shapes, like they were really like deformed for like beforehand and then after, but they did the same thing with music. And
I think that people overlook the power of words and water and things like that, and I think a lot of it has to do with the influence it has on people. Like, I don't think that people give enough credit to how much influence the sounds that we intake have an effect on us psychologically, spiritually, whatever. Like, people that study the lower mysteries, right? That's the everyday stuff that people read and stuff. That people that study the lower mysteries, they look at it as like, you know, you put positive in it, you get positive. You put negative. But people that study the higher mysteries and get into these esoteric schools and get into occultism and all this other stuff and start to study these higher sciences, they start talking about tones and the different tones and the different elements and the different vibrations people hear. It's in the music that people hear and people don't understand. Like, just listening to certain types of music can really bring your intelligence level down. Now, I'm not talking about good hip hop, bad hip hop. I'm just talking about music in general. Right. And sometimes, and here's the tricky part of it. Sometimes the message, the words spoken in the music can be positive, but the tones are not. Right. So it's like a sleeper cell. It's like a sneaker cell. Like some of your favorite artists are kicking all this positive shit, but in reality, but the tones in their music, if you broke it down by tones, is negative and is actually bringing you down a couple of octaves spiritually and mentally. But their message is positive. All work together and positivity. And
just emo rap, period. Yeah. It's like emo rap.
Right.
That's all, like,
well, I think that's what the scientists, you know, if he put a swear word on the water, I mean, still the crystal form. Even if you...
What's interesting is that I realized that some of the times he was labeling them, but most of the time before he labeled it, like, he would take and say love over that, and then flash freeze it, hate, flash freeze it, sin it, flash freeze it.
Take that microscopic picture.
Yep.
And it would look so
different. They would be
crazy.
They freeze. They had a freezer and they put everything.
What do you call it? Special director. You can directly infuse
like liquid hydrogen.
Liquid hydrogen. That's what I was trying to say. Liquid hydrogen. Yeah.
So the crystals would form in such a way that it would be beautiful, particularly if he said the word love.
Yeah.
It didn't matter the language either, though, right?
It didn't matter the language.
They tried it in Spanish and French and more.
But once they microwaved the water, once they microwaved it, it always looked ugly, terrible.
Well, we all know nothing comes out good in the microwave.
But everybody in the microwave.
Putting the spirit in the microwave is like putting the French fries in the microwave.
That's why I don't be in the microwave. That's why I be telling my people.
Does not work.
I worked in a drug rehab where, you know, people were like at their last, they were either going to go to jail or you're going to die. It was like that kind of place. And we had these classes. Yeah, it was make or break it. And in the classes, I would say, don't go back to your old music. Don't go back to it because
the nostalgia will bring it back to that.
Everything that you did, bring you back.
That's funny because I used to listen to this rapper Keith Murray.
Oh, that's my guy, bro.
Yeah, it's like a guy.
Golden Era. Sorry.
That's our guy too. I've only caught him twice stage diving.
As we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He had his album basically stuff, not like glorifying jail, but just like his experience in jail, just like different jail stuff and what goes on in jail. That's what the album's about. And I was listening to it one day, and this whole I ended up getting arrested for some bullshit. He said some crap. I didn't go to court. Blah blah. It's a long story. So I ended up getting out, and I spent the weekend in jail. I get out, I go back, get my car to tow, and I was like, what was I listening to? And I put my CD on, it was that Keith Murray CD about
Power of God.
And then listen to that shit again.
So that's powerful.
And then you can go back to the power of thought. What's the power? So they also did a study on newborns, on babies inside, and if the mother is, a child can, how do they say it? If a mother has an extended period of distress, the child will have that kind of automatic distress, already born with it, and can continue the cycle naturally, even if you take them out of the environment or something like that.
what you're talking about. That,
of course, I mean,
talking, but I
you have
thought that
a
was pretty
person
powerful.
inside of you for 9 months.
Right.
A
They're picking up everything.
Person.
But 2 minutes of that could be picked up too, though. Like not just. It
yeah.
doesn't have to be exact.
So I guess we're all in the agreement that the sounds and things you intake affects you, right? So real quick, because we got to get into our guest.
Yeah, one more.
fact.
The champ's here.
The champ is here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hope we didn't stay away. She's looking around.
Her
Better
dad
get used to that clapping.
Her dad said too. Simon, right?
Yes.
Simon, trainer, is also a trainer. So you guys better come up with a compound phrase for. You know how they got momager. We gotta come out with a compound phrase for like a dad trainer. You gotta figure that out.
Dadager? Like a momager?
Like a
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah, I like that. Dadager.
Very powerful, very strong queen by the name of Jasmine Red, who's a hip hop artist out of Massachusetts. She came in with her mom and her mom, the momager. That's what we came up with.
No, we didn't go with mama. No. This guy was trying to steal the
Wow.
Wow.
Alright, so
Alright, last one.
You're
you're right.
Focus.
the credibility has gone from here to here.
So,
He was taking out his place before he got here. He was
So
like,
last fact before we move into our guest. According to a French study done recently, loud music stimulates drinking 15 minutes for a beer, while soft music just for 12 minutes with loud music.
Okay, are we really gonna believe what the French got to say about this stuff?
So the point
Wait, say
is,
it again.
all right,
Say it again.
according to a French study, loud music stimulates drinking 15 minutes for a beer, while soft music is just 12 minutes. So if you
15 minutes for a beer. How can you compare a beer with soft music?
So like
What
if
do you
you're
mean?
like
That don't make no sense. Soft music is a beer is 15 minutes.
sorry, I read it.
I like one of the bad versions. You know when you do the test.
Basically-
Oh, you know when you do the test, you get to the reading part or the math part. The big ass paragraph. I had a terrible version of one of those. Don't try to cut us off. Hold on, bro. Let's get roast for a minute. Roast for a minute. All right.
They were saying that if you have loud, aggressive music, you drink much more faster than if you had soft.
oh yeah, that's
That was the point.
Oh.
So they were saying that like the
I can
same drink, you would drink in 12 minutes.
Does that apply to
loud,
oral
aggressive music.
Does that apply to
soft
oral
music
sex?
takes 15 minutes.
okay. So the soft.
You know,
soft
then you
music
need to
takes
answer
15
to
minutes.
this.
Yeah, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
They were saying, so basically, to wrap it all up,
Give me a beer. Give me a beer. Give me a shot. Give me.
to wrap it all up,
Give me a glass of
I don't
water.
know. It was right here.
music and sound directly affects you psychologically all the way from the womb to.
Well, even if they have people that's in comas or they like have dementia and stuff,
Yeah.
like they'll play a song.
That are brain dead, but in a coma, right?
Coma.
Brain dead is different. So just in a coma,
Like
right?
in a coma.
Well, because brain dead is no mental activity. A coma means you have mental activity, but you're not waking up, right?
Right.
Has anybody ever been affected? Has brain,
No,
brain dead ever been affected?
I think it's like people that's like they're like out, but they relatives like when people ask them questions and they can blink their eyes or they can squeeze their hand. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
with like a vegetation, like vegetable.
They were showing that.
Vegetative
You know what? It
Yeah.
affected people's Alzheimer's too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they'll play a song that
From
triggers.
their
Yeah.
generation, yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's
can
what-
trigger like all these good feels.
So what we're looking at here, I think the final part of it is that I think that we've come to the conclusion, as far as we feel, right? We're in mutual agreement that sound could either heal or hurt.
Sound can heal.
Yeah.
Music can heal or hurt. So be careful what you take. You guys are out there eating vegan and vegetarian, no gluten, but you're putting that poison sounds in your ears. So watch out for your tones.
Indeed.
Watch out what you're listening to.
And I want to make this one last point about that. When you're dealing with folks that are dealing with early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's, the one thing that is never, that unfalteringly, if it's something associated with music, the memories always stay there. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. So stay on your music. Yo, we're about to be back in a second. Shout out to everybody that was here.
We'll be back.
We don't use, no, we're not, well, I guess we're not going away because
Oh,
we
we're
don't
not going to
have,
video?
we don't have any video.
We can make it on
Yeah,
here.
we can do that.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, we can do that.
We're going to a video, I think.
Yep.
And then we'll bring it on to Kiss.
We'll call it intermission. Tell me about that. Next time, you can pull the audio up on there and play it straight from there.
Right from the computer. That's the whole thing. I don't know how the whole thing on the.
Nah, you can just pull up. You can pull up just the MP3 version of it. So you guys come up. You can say that. Just put another
I
seat
was
over.
just gonna let them sit.
There you sit close here.
There's one here. Is this nice?
Yeah, that's it. You can put that right there.
Sierra Superfly, is that you?
Yes.
How you doing, Mike Austin? Pleasure to meet you. You from Mass?
You can play it for a second. They'll bring it right back in.
You gotta show this off. You already put this up here. You gotta show that off.
Yeah, that up there, yeah.
Yeah.
Last name Martinez too?
Yes, sir.
And it was, the junior woman, 119 pounds.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm a transplant in New York. I come from the Bronx.
Oh, really, really?
And I moved up here like 20 years ago, raised up here.
Okay. Chopp guy, you from the Bronx too, right?
Next, watch it.
No, good. What's up? We back. We back with the champ.
The champ is
You know.
The champ.
The women's junior, 119 pounds, 119 pound class champion, #1 in the world. Put the belt up. Sierra Martinez, you know, put the belt up
Hold
there.
up for the camera, you can see it.
Rhode Island
Can you
zone.
guys see it?
And her dad's also a trainer, Simon Martinez, you know. So, you know, put it up there.
Boot it up.
Were you born in Providence?
Yes.
Born and raised in Providence? And you do like her dad's Simon was saying originally from the Bronx?
Yes, from the South Bronx.
South Bronx?
South Bronx.
And how long have you been in Providence?
I've been here over 25 years.
25 years. So you
25
like me, I've been here for like 25 years.
Absolutely.
So I'm a Rhode Islander now too, so you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So did you box back in the day or?
Yeah, I boxed in New York Daily Golden Gloves. I boxed in the Army. And after that, I dedicated myself to just coaching amateur boxers.
Okay, you started amateur coaching. God damn it! Excuse me. You started coaching in the Bronx, or did you start when you got to Rhode Island?
I coached somewhat in the Bronx, but mostly in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
Yes.
And then, when you started, how long ago was that? When did you start?
About that much, about 20 years ago.
years.
Yeah,
Okay.
I trained both my sons.
Yeah.
They're both Golden Glove champions, Simon Martinez and Christian.
Wow.
And it was a legacy of male boxers in my family. and Sierra's the first one female that we
That's what I was gonna
actually
say.
trained.
When you started training fighters, were there any women fighting?
No, honestly, there wasn't a big demand for female boxing. It's a male-dominated sport, and I'm from old school, so I basically didn't want my daughter to box, but she showed she showed a hunger for the sport, and she persevered.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask Sierra, like, what made you were you just around the gym all the time watching?
Yes,
Yeah.
my brothers were in it, and I was a chubby girl, so my dad had put me in the gym, but he didn't want me to like start boxing. He just wanted me to lose weight. And I ended up like wanting to box.
How old was you when you started in the gym?
11.
And you are how old now?
15.
Oh, so you're a couple of years now you've been putting in work. And then you started boxing at what age? Was the first time you really got into the ring?
I was 11, yeah.
Wow. Young.
I had like my first match. Like 2 months into the gym, I had my first
fight.
Wow. And what was that feeling like when you first got in? Was it like, yeah, this is what I want to do, or was it like scary and like?
It was
sure?
like I was nervous because I didn't know like what was gonna come, but like I had sparred a bunch of times, so it was like after that I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
It was like
did you fight?
Magic.
Did you fight any, or did you like to fight outside of boxing? Like before you was like 11, was it like fighting was a thing that you were like into? Like just like, like.
No.
You didn't know. Just like fighting for sport.
Yeah.
Dad's here to make a tell so.
No, I mean that's old now.
Did you spar with your brothers at first? Was that the first?
No, I never sparred with my brother.
Really?
Well, I sparred with one of them, but it was like later in my career. Like I never sparred with them in the beginning.
So what was the first person you fought with? Was she like experienced, or was that was like her first fight also?
She had more fights than me. She was more experienced, but we had matched it up for me to get more experience. Because in order to be in the nationals, you have to have 5 fights. So we was building up.
So how many fights have you had since then? How many fights did it take you to get to here, to number 1?
Oh, I have like 30 something.
30.
Like 36.
And what's your record right now?
I don't know.
How many did you lose? How many fights did you lose?
I don't keep track. I don't
keep track.
She lost quite a few number of fights in the beginning. She lost she lost more than she won. Out of 10 fights, she probably lost 8. And then after she got the learning curve, she's been she's number 1 in the United States.
Oh, so you said she was the 3rd fighter in your family you trained?
She's the 3rd fighter in the family. The 2 boys, and actually I trained a stepdaughter of mine, Idea, and she, and Tiffany. And but Sierra's the first one that really took it serious and wanted to fight competitively.
Yeah.
Do you only train in-house family, or are you available? Or you
I train right now. I train. I have Diego Bendichia, a couple other fighters, Yadira Andino, another female fighter. But Sierra's the one that I really focus on.
Can I ask a question about boxing?
Yes.
So. Is it better for the learning curve?
Yes.
Is it better to lose a lot in the beginning? Do you learn more from losing in boxing?
Well, that's the
or is it more about strategic?
Well, that's the dynamic in boxing. They focus on winning, and if you want to be in this in long term, you have to make a sacrifice, and by sacrificing, you have to fight people that are better than you. And I always fought Sierra with it's a term is called fighting her up. So I fought her with girls that were 2 years older than her, that had more weight than her, and I gave that up because she was skilled and she could handle it. But it would prepare her for when she fought peer level, she would dominate, and that's what I want her to do. I want her to dominate, but you have to give up some in the beginning to get the experience.
Right.
So that's the answer to your question.
And that's the thing about it, like that shows character. Like when you're losing and you're fighting bigger fighters, and some more experienced fighters, and you're taking a loss, but you still want to come back.
Yeah.
Still want to come back and do it again. Like let's go again. And that shows like the real passion and love for the sport and what you do. You know what I mean? You can't see anybody that.
Sierra's a tremendous dream. She's fought in Canada. She fought in the King of the Jungle against one of the Canadian champions. She beat her in Edmonton, and then we fought in Ireland.
But she's smiling like,
Yeah, she
fought in Ireland.
Yeah, she just came back.
Right in the face.
You can feel her energy.
Yeah, she just came back from Dublin, Ireland a few months ago, and now She's going to be going to the high performance camp in Colorado Springs. USA Boxing is going to be training her, and she's going to be with all the girls that are champions in their weight divisions. And the expectancy is that they'll be fighting in Bulgaria. After Bulgaria, possibly Japan.
And then it goes on,
international.
Before we go, because
right.
for you, it's a. Now I'm saying it's a basic thing. But I'm sure you're proud of it. But for you, it's your everyday life. So it's kind of like bow, 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 bow. But let's take it back.
This is what we're doing. We're more focused on what we're doing. Yeah.
Right. Let's take it back a second, because for people that don't understand as much. So from your point of view, what was it like? Now you're a young girl from Rhode Island, right? You're boxing, you're boxing was there, and then
boxing
now,
all over the world.
Yeah, but let's specifically talk about, like, okay, now, give me a brief, not a long, but a brief synopsis, a run through. Okay, wake up in the morning, I'm here, I'm in Dublin, Ireland. I'm in Ireland, right? I'm in a country, first time there, right? I'm assuming, right? Okay, I'm in Europe, I'm in Dublin, young girl from Rhode Island, I'm in a whole other country, I'm with my dad, so I'm feeling good, but at the same time, your dad can be there, but at the end of the day, you got to get in the ring with that girl. Right. So now you're in Ireland, you're in this other place, you're off your own territory, you're out of your norm. And like you said, your dad's there, but at the same time, you're in that ring alone with this other person, and you're in a whole other country. What does that feel like?
It feels good, because, like, this is what I do. So, like, it's not going to take me, because I'm somewhere else, it's not going to take me, like, out of what I do. Like, it doesn't matter.
So you get a zone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where I fight. It's the ring. Like, it doesn't matter what ring, where I am. Like, I'm there to do what I have to do.
I'm gonna punch some face. That's like, and that's like, and like a lot of fighters that have like the leverage. You know what I'm saying? They'll try to bring you to where they're comfortable at. Yeah. And that's why, like, Floyd Mayweather fights only in Las Vegas. He never leaves Las Vegas. He lives in Las Vegas. Right. He fights in Las Vegas. The clinch goes. You fight me in Russia. They want you to come over to Russia and fight them in Russia. They won't fight you nowhere else. So that's an element of boxing when you get to a certain level where you have to actually go out to the other places and fight, and just for it to be like, I don't care. I don't like the Irish food. I'm just when you punch her in the face with words.
Yeah. Like, I don't like that.
Hamburgers.
Irish food's good.
So one thing we like to do on our show, because our show has a hip hop base, right? But we like to talk about other stuff, so we like to compare it to hip hop in a sense. So we had an actor in here, right? And he was from here, and he's been a couple of different things. And we asked him the same question now from the boxing standpoint. Now, I'm not talking about how you feel, because we've already established that the ring is the ring, whether it's Southside Province or Dublin, it doesn't matter to you. But I'm not talking about your razor sharp focus, because we've established that, right? I'm talking just about the outer, the side commentary or the outer vibes, right? So let me get my point. So when you're from Rhode Island and you're a rapper, right, and you're an artist, and you go to somewhere like New York City, or you go to Los Angeles or something like that, and you get the stage, and people are like, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Where's Rhode? Right. We're from Big Bad New York City or Southside Chicago, Compton, California, and you're from Providence. So do you feel, because you come from the smallest state and I'm not talking about how do you feel, because I feel from
Ask her how does she feel.
For which, but I'm saying,
how do you feel? Not you, but
no. Because I'm just asking.
But
because she gives me the impression, no matter where she was or where she was up against, she would feel the same because she's comfortable in her skin. What I'm saying is, do people treat you differently? Like you're supposed to be less of a formidable opponent because you come from the smallest state in the country.
Like formidable.
Sorry.
Like, did they treat me different?
Yeah, what he's saying is like, people like, you're from Providence. She's like, do they
you
like? You
didn't have to fight as many people as someone in.
I'm from this big city. You're from this
Some
little
people
place.
are like that.
Yeah.
Some people are like that, but I don't really pay attention. Like, some people are like that. Like, if you know, like, what you can do, it shouldn't bother you.
Yeah.
Well,
I get that sense of you, it wouldn't matter to you, but I just think that as like people that come from here and go other places, sometimes they deal with that.
You deal with it in Rhode Island. Like the people from Woonsocket, they'll be like, oh, this person from Providence. Now you automatically supposed to be scared because this person from Providence and you from Woonsocket. It's like even in sports, football.
Somebody from New York.
Yeah, good people from New York.
I'm from New York City, okay.
Yeah, I'm from New York. You want to do this? I go here.
Not everybody in New York is tough. Not everybody from Chicago is tough. You know what I'm saying? I just mean in general.
Yeah, so people do that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was basically his question. I mean, it went all the way. This is the question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just didn't know how to.
That's not
I was trying to.
Now
the question is like,
I was trying to relate it to sports. It's a little bit different. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, we could. So I think you had. That's a good talking point because the girl that she defeated, Faith Mendes, she was on Team USA and she was touted. She was #1 in the nation. And Sierra, the expectancy was that she's from Philly. It's a great fight town.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of boxing history.
A lot of boxing history.
You know, the famous boxer is a fictional character.
Earned her right, beat all the best fighters. But then she fought Sierra, you know, who had and Sierra didn't, when they asked her, are you better a fighter than her? And she said she wasn't better. She said she worked harder. And, you know, that meant she wanted it more.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to be hungry, not only in the sport, but in life, because, you know, they always say it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. But then why do they keep score?
Yeah, right.
And the thing is that there's an expectancy to win. But, you know, hard work and determination trumps talent. Yeah. And, you know, she's talented, but plus she works hard.
I watched the fight, and what's her name, the other girl?
Faith Mendes.
Faith, she was coming. She was coming. She was coming the whole fight, coming, but she let Sierra let the cleanest shots. You know what I'm saying? And when it was time to brawl, she brawled. She brawled with it. Then she stepped back, you know.
Now, the thing is that Sierra, in a lot of fights, especially the one in Canada, in the 3rd round, when I told her she had to win the round, she got more focused and she was in a different element. And I just got awarded custody 5 years ago of both her and her sister. Yeah. And I was awarded custody because of an abusive situation that she had, you know, on her mom's side. And, you know, good mom, but, you know, bad set of circumstances. But she internalized everything that she had, and what she did is I used that, and she ventilates in boxing. Yeah. So in the 3rd round, there was situations.
Right in the face. The first couple seconds, she did a combo. She was straight poop poop.
So I asked her.
She almost went. She was going.
I asked her, "Where were you, Sierra?" Because she was glazed. She was fixed and glazed.
Oh, you kind of see it in her eye.
Yeah, I saw it in her eye. You know, she wasn't really listening to me. She really was dancing to her own music. And the thing was, after the fight, she told me that I put myself in that abusive situation I was in, and I fought my way out of it. And that's where I was in the ring. And she uses that negative feeling, you know, to a positive feeling. And I think if a lot of kids that are troubled and at risk, if they did that, they'll be more successful.
Yes.
Great.
Maybe we would have less.
Maybe
we would have less incarcerated youth.
Correct.
Because I come from the north end of Providence, and you know the boxer Boo Boo. He comes. Yeah, he comes. He comes from the same side of town and everything like that. And like, you know, we didn't really have. Like, I look at my side of town and, like, you know, as a pro, because I'm originally from the west end, I go from the north end, and I look at some of my cousins that come from over there, like, we didn't really have, like, a lot of gyms or anything like that. Eventually there were a couple of gyms that opened, stuff like that. But what I was talking about the other day is we had a Boys and Girls Club. And some of the other places that my friends were from, they didn't have a Boys and Girls Club as close. Right. And like, I look at them and like us going to the Boys and Girls Club and getting into some of the sports and some of the things that we did, like, even though it didn't completely change our life all around, some of those nights,
some people did though.
Some of those nights, even though I ran the streets and did some things I'm not proud of, right? There were some nights that me and my friends would be at the Boys and Girls Club, and some of my other friends that lived on the other side of town where they didn't have that, let's per se, that they was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and some of them are dead and some of them are never getting out of jail. And I could have easily been that kid. I wasn't really that different from them. We did the same things, and just those couple of nights or some nights away, stuff like that. Boxing is overlooked because people look at it as such an aggressive thing, but it's organized. Right? It's organized. People look at it as like an
organized chaos.
I spoke to the Mike Campbell. One detriment to these boxers is their lifestyles. You know, nothing else can. Their training is good, it's impeccable. They have the best trainers, but the lifestyle. I work for Ty's Family Services for over 20 years, and I've been to the training school, and I see the average kids that not only do they do their time in the training school, but then they get certified, and then they have to do their time in ACI, and they flush their life. So you see a lot of kids to the way things are set up, so that Sierra can actually find a sport and travel the world, and out of the smallest state, we boast the number one girl in the United States. That's huge. That's really for us anyway.
Do you see?
I see how happy you were, how proud of you were after you
You know what I was saying? I like to clear you in what I was telling you. I kind of speak freely on this.
Yeah, you say whatever
you want.
So Sierra was the underdog for that fight. And everything I heard is and everything like that. And all the so-called gurus of boxing told me that that there was no possible way for her to appoint Faith Mendes and win because she had been number one for so long.
So they were just saying it was a knockout for nothing.
Correct. So after the fight, I got exuberant, and I actually left my to ringside, and I told them, you don't show shit about boxing. None of you know shit about boxing. You don't know nothing about boxing. And, she worked hard for that. And I told them, she worked hard. Didn't she deserve that? But we talked about hate. And we talked about hate in our own region. And the girl that's Cape Verdean and Puerto Rican, which is eclectic because it's a mix of two races. We should get the love from all those communities and from this state itself.
That's not how it works.
And it's not the way it works. So we get more love from Washington, from Maryland, from Georgia, from New York, from New Jersey. We get love from every state. Not so much from here.
And we talk about that when it comes to like rap and music.
But I don't understand.
I'm about to explain it. It's like they look at you and they identify what they say. Oh, I know who her dad is. I know what her dad does. I know who she this and that. And I know this and that. But when you go to another place, they don't have that judgment. They don't have that They don't know. They just look at you for your skills.
Flip side of that,
look at you for what you do. Right. But when you come to your own home state, they know stuff about you. Oh, I know him, or I know what he does, or he's not nothing but this, or he's not nothing but that. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it all comes from. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of times you go to other places, and the only thing they know about you is your skill.
Understood. So that's where the love comes from.
Yeah. A lot of times because I wanted to say something.
Like for rap, we'll be on stage.
But you explain where the love comes from. Where does the hate come from?
I'll tell you where the hatred comes from. Here's where the hate comes from.
Well, I think you explain it too. It's not them. It's not them. She's flying, and you guys do all two L's.
But that's it.
You gotta watch.
But let me break it down like this, right? Let me break it down like this. Somebody who gets to a certain, but so much. Let's use somebody a little bit older. Let's see somebody who's in their 30s, right?
Okay.
Gets to a level of success,
right,
from here, and they get to a level of success, and like, well, why don't my community support me? Because behind closed doors, somebody's like, when he was 15, I knocked him out. When he was 15, he kissed my girlfriend. When he was 17, I seen him do this, and I know. And if they can do that, and they do this, I can do it. Why can't I do this? Because people look at themselves and they see themselves not rising, and they think that they're better than you, and they say,
why not me?
It ain't me.
Yeah, why
they find little reasons why, like
why they better.
They're only like that because of who they know.
But I've stripped that away because if you saw the movie with Eminem, when he was rapping with the guy, and so he disarmed him by rapping about everything that was wrong with him. So every interview that I have, and including this one here, I'll tell people that, I'm an 11-year Army veteran, I'm a convicted felon, in New York, I had to come back hard, to raise these two kids and everything like that, and that should be my story. But that's used as a detriment. He's a convicted felon. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
It's against you. It's against you.
Right.
Of course, even
if you look at the highest level, when somebody's doing good, they want to tear him down. They want to take him down some type of way. They want to bring him down a notch. Oh, he's flying too high right now. He feels too good about it. So I got to bring him down a notch. Let's go find something to bring him down a notch.
Let me give you a quick example.
And no matter how famous you are, how big you get, they always want to bring you down a notch.
Let me give you a quick example of what we dealt with. So, just real brief.
Yes.
So we started because
I won't be brief.
No, I know I really will because I really want to.
It won't be brief, bro.
This is important. I want to hear
it. So we do music, but we're older.
Yes.
We're in our 30s. Some of us in our 40s. So
you're young guys.
Yeah, we're young, but not too young.
Bro.
Too young. So we're not a real brief. We're not a group of friends that grew up together that rapped. We're an eclectic mix of people that are connected through me and other people that kind of formed together as like, all right, well, that group didn't work out, that didn't work out. We kind of formed together like a collective of things. So you've got that aspect. So we started this podcast on kind of an accident. I'm not going to go into that whole story, but an accident happened, some things happened, and the podcast happened. So we didn't want to do this. We got into the podcast, we did it, And when we first started, check this out, we had an open phone line, and we invited guests to come in, we invited people to come in. We did music, and we've had friends that do music all around the world. My friend right there was on the Ellen Show. I mean, like, we've been on documentaries. Right. We've done so many amazing things that we don't even talk about. When we do music, we don't even talk about our music. We took the mic and we gave it to everybody else, and we said, here's a platform, here's a thing. We've had a phone line. We said, Providence, where you at? And we're like the people that are on this show that are from here, we're very well respected. We're very well respected in the different communities.
Italy, Iceland, New York, we call us all the time. Before
I exposed my daughter to any kind of media or anything, she just came. She had an interview in Channel 12 News. It went viral on all the stations. But this one here was interesting because when Josh first told me about the Chopp Club, I did my research on it. And you guys, not because I'm here and it's local, but you guys are on the cusp of being a quasi-breakfast club here in New England. And that's huge because with enough sponsors and enough viewership, you guys wouldn't even be here. You'll be in a bigger place. And this is where it started. And we wanted to be ground level, and let you know that, we appreciate you guys having a forum like this. And there's a story to be told. And the story is that, you could be a convicted felon. You can make a life for yourself. You could be a good dad. You could be a single dad. Myself and Josh, we're single parents. Will and yourself. We're not deadbeat dads. And we're dads that make a difference.
Exactly. And that's that point right there. I do want to get it. I want to touch on that because I think that's important. But just to wrap up, thank you so much for that, honestly. Because
thank you.
No, seriously, that we've gotten a lot of compliments, but that's one of the ones that's meant the most to me in 3 years that we've done this show. I'm serious.
And I have nothing to gain by saying that. It's the truth.
We don't even know each other.
It's an homage to us. We thank you for that.
Yeah, Mike, you don't get that camera on, man. You're gonna have a young girl punch it down. Funny, made him laugh. He did. It took us almost the whole show.
Says Sierra. What you say?
So the wrap up point is, and I normally don't talk about this because I don't ever sound better because I'm not, because we never tried support, we never asked for support. So the point that I was saying is we had the open phone lines. We said Providence. Call. We encourage people to call us if you hate us, you like us. So if somebody would have called and started talking shit about us, we wouldn't have hung up the phone. We would let it go. We have an ill policy. If one of us leaves our social media open and the other one posts something crazy, we post something embarrassing, crazy, we make up stuff. The other one, we don't erase it. We leave it up. So we don't. So we're very open. So that's just a.
So you don't hide and you don't cut people off like you guys do.
No. If somebody called, if somebody was to call and say, "I don't like you. You're a piece of this and you're a piece of that," instead of arguing, we say, "Okay, listen out." But here's the thing. Check this out though. Well, Providence, and I'm not just in Providence. I'm saying, and we're well-respected people because I have respect and other things in music here. They didn't call. But check this out. But here's the end point. We got calls literally from other. We got. You know how many people in Iceland? There's like 5.
That's
one of them
amazing.
called our show.
That's amazing.
There's 5 people in Iceland. Wow. One of them called our show. Hello. The guys calling with accents, because we've had everything from Wu-Tang to Public Enemy and people here. So people have called in. So guess what we did? We said, you know what? We love Providence. We're here, but there's so much focus on here. Why don't we, instead of not saying that Providence doesn't have talent, why don't we go out and interview people from all around the world and connect them to Rhode Island? Not ignore Rhode Island talent, but interview these people, because some of these people from these places didn't even know Rhode Island existed until we did this show.
All right.
And guess what happened? The after effect was. Guess what the whispers and corners were? And I swear to God on my children, I'm not upset about this. I'm disappointed, but I'm upset. You know what the whisper and corners were? The same people that didn't take the time to call or share or this and that. We never begged nobody. We never.
Right.
Those guys, they're cool, but they don't got no love for Rhode Island. They're always worried about people in other places. For 2 years, we kept our phone line open. You guys didn't call.
You didn't show no love.
But now, because we're rocking with Wu-Tang Clan, and now because we've got legends on the shows and we've got OGs from other places co-signing us, now you're either respecting us or you're saying that we don't care about Providence. What do you mean? I carry Providence on my back. I'm a 401 son. I don't care who you see me rocking with. I'm Rhode Island to the death. But y'all want to say that we're focused on everything else. So how?
And that's what happened. That's what happened when a person blow up and they go out. They go out somewhere and you like, who is that dude? You like, I don't even know he's from Rhode Island or Providence. I ain't even heard of this guy. Like, where you come from? They just like, they don't really associate themselves. You know,
So
like,
what's the lesson of all this?
The lesson of all this is that it's not where you're from and it's where you're at, and that if the people around you that are close in your cipher from where you're from are always going to throw a certain type of shade on you, and if you want them to respect you, you have to go out into the world and get that respect.
No, you don't bother getting respect from anybody. You have respect for yourself. You move up, and you go, and you go, and you don't stop, and you don't look back. And if they don't want to come with you in a good way, then you don't want them to, because they'll be dragging you down like the crabs. You ever hear that story about crabs?
Yeah, they pull you out.
They pull each other back down, right? Yeah. So don't look behind, you know where you're going.
Another interesting stat too. Like most, like when it comes to rap, not related to like boxing, but just like related to hometown thing. Most rappers get killed in their hometown.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Except for like,
and most of their fans come from other places.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point in time where 50 Cent, without no debate, 50 Cent is an established, dangerous, well-respected person from where he was from. The dude had a Mercedes-Benz when his name was Boo Boo before he signed said his first rap song, before Jam Master Jay put him on the microphone. 50 Cent was an established, high-level drug trafficker, respected gangster from his neighborhood. You can say whatever you want to say, nobody can take that from him. But I remember, after he blew up, a friend of mine coming back and saying, "Oh, what happened? Oh, I was in Southside Jamaica, Queens, where 50's from. What happened? The 50 Cent Get Rich Die Trying just happened."
Right.
They said, "Oh, I was blasting the album." He said, "What happened?" "Somebody bashed my windows in."
Right.
That's 50's hood. What do you mean somebody?
He just playing the music. Yeah.
What do you mean? And she was from Rhode Island. What do you mean someone bad? What do you mean somebody bad? So you can't really worry about the hatred from the people because it's all gonna come. At the end of the day, like
Beth said, keep doing what you're doing.
Just
keep
do what
rising,
you're doing.
You know what I'm saying?
Just grind and never worry about it because you know
spread
what?
your own love. That's all.
Yeah.
You go into a place and you spread your love.
I've never met a real person in my state or in my region that I never had a face-to-face conversation with that didn't walk away with a mutual respect for me and what we do. Never in my life have I. And I'm not saying nobody don't like me. I'm saying I've never had a sit-down conversation with nobody face-to-face and then walk away with not a mutual respect whether we agree or disagree. I haven't had it happen yet, so I don't worry about it. So how that relates is you keep doing you because one of these days you're going to look back and you're going to realize there's a whole bunch of people watching you that they're never gonna like nothing, they're never gonna, maybe they'll go to your fight, they might never talk about you, but they're inspired by what you do.
Yeah.
I think I collaborated in regards to that hate and envy that she had, because every time, a lot of coaches, they generate a buzz about their fighter. So
like talk it up?
They talk it up, they build their fighter's brand. This kid's the best thing since hot bread, everything. Exactly. So Sierra would say, "Dad, I want to spar that kid." So we would go and we would do a sparring. They'd bring out all the cameras to see the kid beat up a girl, and Sierra always shined and did better than them, and she took away all those kids' shine. So the thing is that she did it to a lot of national boy champions that are here, boys, because I only spar her with boys, because she's on a different curve. So here in Rhode Island, we have gotten the most hate and envy because she's taken a lot of these kids. And I, since they were on Facebook, I put it on Facebook, and she's knocked down kids, and I put it on there, and that created the hate, and I understand that. But she's very humble, and the thing is that
she's really humble. You can tell she's
the thing
loves
is that,
boxing.
That we
she
had,
want to fight. She want to like.
We had about 18 male representatives represent New England, go to Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, for the biggest show on earth, which is the Nationals, and the only one that came back with the belt was Sierra, a female, and Rashidi Ellis. So that doesn't say that they're any worse than they are, but you have to, if you generate a buzz, you have to keep that buzz.
Yeah, and you have to
gotta win.
Yeah, you gotta live it up. And I can understand the other, because I can understand the other side of the thing is because I gotta be honest with you. I wouldn't hate on you, but if you knocked out my son, I'd be a little salty. But I would take it on you. I'd be taking it on him. I'd be salty. But at the same time, I might use it as a.
But yo, man, that's how good she is, man. Yeah. Like again, you can't take away from her talent. It's like the female pitcher, the girl pitcher that was pitching in the Little League. She was roasting him, cooking him,
destroying him.
They couldn't do about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing. You shouldn't lose to a girl. Well, she's that good. I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? Sorry for you.
Yeah, I got a question for the for this show over here. So you have Floyd Mayweather, who's one of the richest boxers in the history of boxing, and you know that he fills arenas would you say that the large percentage of the people that is in the arena is there to see him win?
No, they're to see him lose.
No.
And
he's made his money
and he's not the
people that hate him.
They're just hoping. Yeah, they're just hoping.
But this we have to give him credit for though. He built it like, all right, so I'm sorry, for example, we use Adrian Broner.
Right.
Adrian Broner tried to follow that same protocol. That's because Adrian Broner
doing good though.
He's good,
yeah.
but that don't work when you lose.
No.
After you have to play beat your ass and you still talking and running your mouth,
right.
you know somebody beat you up. So that whole mystique is done, and that's why you could give Floyd credit for it because everybody hate him, but guess what? He keeps winning, and that's why he keeps them in, and they have to keep watching to hope that he lose this time. I'm gonna pay my money to hope that I hope I see him get his ass whipped this time, and he don't.
What do they say?
What did
they say?
On time,
because the strategy
Play $70 at home. Play $70 at home.
I can tell you that in the hip hop culture here, I worked at the Roxy. It's now the Strand. I worked over there over 10 years, and I worked as security there. And we remember Cardi B coming for a show. She was just a regular to shake her butt on the stage and everything like that. And she was, her makeup must not have been good that day. She was not a beautiful girl. Her teeth were messed up and everything. And but she had a beautiful body and she had a huge following. And they hired myself and another guy to do security for her at the IHOP. Because she figured she's so popular that people are going to be running up on her. And we took the corner booth. And not one person. People were like, "Who's that loud?"
I'm gonna ask
B-I-T-C-H?
you. So you know,
And now she sells out arenas.
but you can't skip over something.
Yeah.
What can I skip over?
Everybody's gonna ask me this question later. So if I don't ask you now, I'm gonna ask you. Everybody's gonna want to know one thing.
Disclaimer alert.
Everybody want to know the one thing.
Yes, sir.
What did she order to eat?
She was drinking.
She go to my.
She was drinking, and she ordered a stack of pancakes. She loaded it with syrup. She woofed it down, and she was a nice girl. And she told a lot of jokes, and she was very not humble, but she wasn't really assuming. She's just a loud girl and everything like that.
That's what people gravitate towards her.
And I always knew that she had that swagger, and I knew that she was gonna make. I told her before we left the IHOP, I told her you're gonna be something big. She gave me a hug and a kiss, and she said, "I hope so." She said, "But when I do my own deal, I'm gonna back my own recording deal," and she did. She said,
"They said when she walks in the room, they say she shuts. Like they said, the vibe. People that don't even like her as far as music wise, they say when she walks in the room,
and that's why she's so.
We talk about having it.
That's why she's so popular because
she has that.
She's always.
You don't know what it is.
Because she was on Love and Hip Hop first. Like when she really got popular for Love and Hip Hop. Yeah, people liked her, just her energy, like how she just says whatever. Like Bronx, she's a typical Bronx girl. You know what I'm saying? Talk, crazy, say whatever, boom, loud. But she's always like that.
But my daughter follows her, and she says, "Dad, why does she get in fights with, Nicki Minaj and put her life, in lifestyles?" And she could lose her career.
I think the industry puts them in that position because it could be one person at the top.
And we could talk about male rappers that have ruined their lives. Who's one of your favorite rappers that's in jail right now? Who do you like? That he got 6ix9ine.
6ix9ine.
And look,
do you like it because he's aggressive, right?
I rock with Tekashi too.
That's workout music. That's workout music.
That's workout music.
So I don't want to go before we
just go to some more time. I got a girl visiting.
I want to talk to her.
Oh, girl time?
Yeah, girl time.
Girl time.
What's your training schedule? What's your diet? What's your
Beth works out too. She does competition, bodybuilding competitions.
Just don't move
she's
too
trying
fast.
To steal your. She's trying to steal your workout. She's trying to steal your workout.
That's what she's saying.
No, so I was wondering, what do you work out in the mornings? Do you have a split routine? What are
So I work out every day. Sometimes I would wake a week before the fight. I would wake up in the morning and run every morning before school. If I don't have a fight coming up, I would just train every day in the gym for 2 hours.
So doing weights and then sparring, or sparring?
No, sparring is sometimes every other day, or we would weigh 2 times a week. We would do sparring, but not every day. We would just do a normal workout routine.
A normal weight training routine, just to keep
Like jump rope, probably
Yeah,
in the
jump
bag,
rope, in
speed
the bag.
bag.
Pads with a timing.
Timing and stuff like that, but you don't use a lot of weights.
No, not a lot.
right? No.
It'll make a rigid, you know.
Yeah,
rigid,
just
right.
slow.
If we
slow.
do work out with weights, it'll be light weights, you
Yeah.
know, but mostly a lot of cardio, a lot of sit-ups, a lot of push-ups.
Heavy weights and bulking up loses
Yeah.
flexibility, you know what I'm saying, and agility.
Well, it does, but then if you jump into boxing and flexing.
You're right, and you know, you have a good ring IQ because as you get older, you know, now not only is the speed important, but we're fighting some girls from California, from Texas. They're huge. They got big biceps.
Yeah.
They're big. They're physical specimens, and we've had to match that physicality. You know, increasing her cardio. So you know,
Her cardio's really good.
when she goes hard, she's prepared for that.
Right.
You know? So
Right.
Sierra's in good shape.
So so when you know that you're going coming up to someone bigger, your speed can get around them. More than
mostly my foot movement, like
your foot movement.
yeah, they can't catch me.
Yeah,
Fast. You're very fast. That's what the fight's fast. Yeah, very fast.
that's awesome.
Her
And so-
footwork is the name of the game is to hit and don't get hit. And that's why, you know, I don't want, if I knew I was going to be that type of fighter to take a lot of punches, it would be a very short tenure into the sport. She doesn't get hit that much.
So before we run out of time, let's make sure. I'm always that guy.
Yes, sir.
Make sure to I'm the one to make sure because in my head I know that there's certain points that we got to get to. So
Might be a half hour.
Yes.
No love.
Much love. We just know what their powers are, what their strengths are.
Absolutely.
So briefly, right? And it's not as brief as quickly tell us briefly about your worst fight. Give us just a quick rundown. Your worst fight. You don't have to tell names, whatever you want to tell the details, whatever you want to tell about it. Your worst fight. Like,
And
like
why
this is
you
my
thought it was
worst
your
fight
worst fight.
ever. And let her tell it, because the girl, she's looking at me like I'm interrupting too. So let me keep the girls. Go ahead. Okay, how about the fight that you felt? The fight that you felt the most like. I might really have a problem. Or a fight that you felt like I might really have an issue.
One of my fights. So I'm a slow starter. So one of my fights in Connecticut, I started off slow, and like I didn't pick up the pace. Instead of like what I usually do is I usually start slow, and then I'll start to pick up the pace like as I get warmed up. That fight I just was not there. Like I wasn't me that day. It was just.
Why do you
lost
think?
that?
Why do you
lost that
think you stayed in that?
That fight, yes, I did.
You stayed in like the guessing mode, the cruise control mode, and you couldn't get out of it.
Yes, and it was just.
Why do you feel like you couldn't get out of it? Why you feel like you couldn't get out of it?
I don't know. I felt like I was just like tired that day. Like it was. I didn't get tired like at all, but it was just like I wasn't.
It's like
in
sluggish.
that mode. I don't know what
Did
was
you,
like
did you
wrong.
feel like that
It's like
way?
it didn't click. It didn't click.
Yes.
Did you feel like that way before you
And
started
like it
fighting?
never happened before. That was like the only fight. After that, like it's never happened. And I don't know like what happened that day. It was just.
That might have been your best fight because you learned a lesson.
Yeah.
What did you learn from? Do you feel like you learned how to get out of it after that, or you feel like it could happen again?
No, I think I learned how to get out of it. Like after in the last round, like I started to pick it up, but it was too late. Like it was the last round.
Yeah, just started slow.
Oh, okay. So let's quickly transition because we gotta wrap this up in a couple of minutes. Best fight.
My best fight was probably at nationals. I didn't start slow, and usually with me I'm a boxer, so I would like
Not a slugger.
Do you win more
No,
by
I'm not a
by
slugger, so-
points or actual knockouts? Or how does that like?
it depends on the fighter. How the other fighter, I adapt to the fighter. So I'm not the one to just like box the whole time. I would see how they fight. If I know they can't
Well,
fight,
you want to bang? We can bang. That's what I seen that
Well,
fight.
no, if they want to bang, no, I'm not gonna fight their fight. So I box.
And I don't mean this. I don't mean this in any type of like funny way in the sense of trying to like clown or nothing like that. It's a joke, but like you're obviously a boxer, but you're how do I say? You're a feminine, girly kind of female as far as the nails. Are the majority of the other boxers, are they more like the masculine sense of females, or
Some of
it's
them,
a mixture?
Some of them are, and like some of them think like Alright, so like when you're in the sport, you know, like they think it's a male sport. So some of the girls, some of the girls think they need to dress like.
Yeah, they show up in dresses, like show up in fitteds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't show up in a dress, but like I still show like I'm a girl, like I wear my hair out.
Yeah.
But then when it gets time to get in the ring, like I get my hair braided, and like I get in the ring as like me, but. They think like they need to dress up as like a male. Some girls do the same thing I do. Like you feel like themselves.
You feel like it's like an intimidation thing. Like I'm gonna dress up like a boy.
Exactly, that's what they think. And then when they look at you like, oh, she's girly, like.
I'm gonna be there. I got this.
Exactly, that's what they think. And that's why they think that they need to dress up as a male because.
You should play into that. You should come in all dressed up like. Dressed like
that's what they think. They need to dress up as a male so then they can scare us. Like
you go the other route and go like extra. Girly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You play into it.
Like a little dog in a purse.
That's what I'm saying. Play into it. The whole thing. Like, well,
hell no.
Last night I had a sleepover, so
so anyways, listen. Even if I knock you out, we can have a slumber party. I don't know. I want you to sleep. So,
give him give them tips. Let's really make them mad. Give them tips. Like, you know, your eyebrows are horrible. That's how exactly. Get them off their game. Maybe like, what? I'm a really killer. Then,
listen, I'm sorry that I beat up your pretty face. You need to go get a man. Here goes a so.
Oh my God! You came here without a manicure? Wow.
Like you
this is what we're doing?
Yeah, I'm here to fight you, not your boyfriend.
Turn to the promoter. This is who you get me to fight? People like this? You see the cuticles? See those cuticles? Wow.
So in the wrap up, let's
wrap up.
Yeah,
let everybody know how they can find the last fight where you became #1. Was it? Well, basically just YouTube her name, Sierra.
Instagram, everything.
Yeah, so what's your Instagram and like give up your Instagram?
Oh, Sierra Superfly. Oh, actually, the real Sierra Superfly.
We're gonna try to get you guys. We're gonna try to get you guys to enter a verbal agreement here on off camera that when you blow up, that you'll come back and visit us at the Chopp Shop. You'll come in, but we'll play the music like the champ is here with the lights blinking. So let's talk about this belt right here. Let's talk about this belt and why do you have this belt and what does that belt mean exactly? Like someone that carries this belt, what does that mean? Like who wears this belt? What does that
mean?
Stupid
question number 5.
That's the national belt. So the national that I just came back. Utah, how I got on the USA team.
Well, no, I mean, like, who, like, what did you, like, I'm not talking, obviously it was a long process, but I'm saying, like, did you have to beat one person, 20 people, 30 people? 2. Okay, you beat 2 people, and then, so we were having this debate earlier, right? Because I come from a boxing family, I'm not a boxer myself, so my knowledge is, like, so-so. So that division, is it a specific, like, when it comes to a weight class, is it like between like, all right, so between this weight and this weight, 10 15 pounds?
Well, basically what he's saying is, could you have boxed an 18-year-old girl that was 119 pounds?
Yeah, like what
no, it's an age group, so I'm a junior.
Yeah, so what's that age range?
That's 14, 15, 16.
Okay, so, and then what about the weight aspect?
119.
119, you have to be on that, you can't be point.
So you could be any one of those ages. And then as long as the weight is the same, and then within that
you get 5 pounds under, but nothing over. Like
all right, and then that's what I wanted to know. So how does it feel to have that belt? Like this question, do you like put that over your? Do you put that over your bed, or like you put it in the living room? Like where does that belt go?
No,
like where did you just take it from?
My belts.
Boom!
That's 26 belts.
26. 26. Yeah. And one of them is the Chanel belt, all right?
And she has the WBC belt, the
Can
IBF
she
belt.
train me?
Yeah. She
it's too late.
This is one of her favorite belts. Show me jacket, just so you can see your jacket.
It's too late.
What does that say?
There you go.
2018.
It's almost like a boxing glove in the shape of the flag. I love it. Hold on, let me see what turn on.
You ever wear your belt to school? I wear my belt to school every day. If I had belts, if I had 26 belts, I wear a belt to school every day.
So you're 15 years old.
Every day.
That's why you never wanted to.
So you're 15
I wear a belt
years
every
old,
day.
right? You're 15 years old. You knocked out a little lass in Dublin. the gold, the Philly girl, you're doubling the last. You're going out. You got these belts. You got all these points. What is the next level? Not the next level of what's the obvious level of, okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go there. What do you want to happen in the next 2-3 years from this point right here? Once you walk out this door, 3 years from now, if you were to come back on the show, where would you like to be at that point?
Close to going to Olympics, like prepping for Olympics. Because that's what I want to do. Like everyone asks me, do I want to go pro? And they get surprised at my answer. Like, no, I don't want to go pro. I just want to do Olympics, and then I want to be a cop. And everybody's like, you don't want to go pro? Like, you went all this far. Like, you don't want to go pro? No, I don't want to go pro.
You might change your mind afterwards. Maybe
I don't think so.
You get a gold medal, you be like...
Do you feel like going pro would be like consuming too much of your life? Like obviously, like everybody, like boxing is something that you love, but obviously you have other goals in life and other things. And it's I think it's tougher also for a woman though, because unlike a man, you know, a woman can have a baby and stuff like that, so things can change as you get older.
They don't get paid as much, which is stupid.
Which is corny.
That's
corny.
They don't get paid as much as men do.
Just to be a woman boxer, you know, you probably have to have like, unless you're like one of the top women boxers, you probably have to have like another job or something like a job on the side to be able to maintain, so it's not as lucrative as like men's boxing.
I want to let everybody know her education trumps boxing. Of course. So she goes to school not close from here. It's called Rhinai, the nurses academy, and she's learning how to be to do CPR, EMT work, and everything that'll help her when she becomes a police officer.
Or if she knocks somebody out.
Her focus. That's what she wants to do. But she's an A student, and she does really good. She's a good daughter and everything. I'm very proud of her, and we're honored to be here on the show. You know, because this is grassroots, this is underground, and this has the type of audience that we're looking for. Yeah, we want love from Rhode Island. We feel that we don't feel like we're getting it from here because maybe you don't invest enough time here, you know, with a lot of people, and we're always traveling and everything. But you know, this is where we live, you know, and you know, we dedicate this national belt to Rhode Island. It's a smaller state. Yeah, you know, but she's the #1 in 50 states, and they have to recognize that. And you know, the Breakfast Club, they had a big show with Birdman, and he said, "Put some respect on my name." And that's what Sierra's here for. She wants to put some respect on her name, and that's why we're on the show.
So and if it wasn't for you, she wouldn't be here. She wouldn't be in this position.
And you train multiple success.
You know, not for training, I'm talking about being a father. I'm talking about being a trainer. I'm talking about as a father.
A lot of coaches live their life through their kids' eyes. I'm not one of them. The minute my daughter says,
No, I wasn't talking about.
I'm not saying to you, but I'm saying in rebuttal to a lot of people that live their life through their kids' eyes, beauty pageants, things like that. The minute my daughter says, "Hey, Dad, I want to do cheerleading," I'll sell all her gloves and I'll get her pom-poms.
Somehow I don't see that happening.
No.
But
you want to sell them? You put them up. You put them up on the shelf.
Craigslist.
I was saying, like, as a father, like I'm a single father too. My kids' moms left my kids basically, so I had to take care of them. And what I'm saying is, like, after you being a father and stepping up, she wouldn't be in a position to be able to do this stuff. So that's my commitment to you, is like being a father and being
and I like to end our tenure here in the show by saying that dads make a difference. You know, and that single dads that are raising their kids are very important to the economy, to just the lifestyles of parents that they don't care about their kids. And you know, dads make a difference.
Especially in our communities of people of color. Wow. We're often reflected on, and I'm not going to trumpet myself as dad of the year because I made mistakes yesterday, and I made a lot of mistakes. But you're talking to two guys that have been back and forth to court.
Three guys.
No, three guys. Well, I don't know.
I was going to say, well, three other guys inside of something.
We're not sure where he's at. He's wearing a Mecca shirt. We know
you guys are doing really, you know, big things in this industry and everything like that. But what will be your legacy? Will your legacy be what you did professionally, or will you be judged, and will your legacy be on what kind of dad you are?
Exactly. And you know what your kids think about you, what your kids say about you at the end of the day.
That's a conflict as a grown man that I have literally in the last 3 months going back and forth to court for custody and all this other stuff. I've had to deal with, because there are times, and I've never said this out loud, but I feel comfortable even though I don't know you, I feel comfortable saying this to you, even though it's a public forum. there are a lot of times where I've neglected time with my children, not because I didn't care, but because I knew where they were situated. They were straight, but they were they would be straight with it without me. Not saying I couldn't add it to at the time. This is my attitude before. I'm not saying it's my attitude now. They would be straight with it without me, but there were things out in the world and things that I could do and other moves that I could make and people I could teach that I couldn't teach if I was always there every day, every minute. So I went out in the world and I did it. But now I'm reflecting and looking at myself in the mirror and I'm saying, okay, so I did that and I did all of this. But now, at the end of the day, the legacy really is like, how are my kids perceiving that? How do they feel? Like, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have a dad that is training semi-pro fighters right now, and I see him, we don't talk no more. Me and my father don't speak, and I see him on social media with the coach jacket, and he's got these fighters, and he got this and that. And I'm like, damn, like, when you came around me, you had me doing things that was nothing like that, and they were bad things. You know what I'm saying? Not he abused me, but you put a negative influence in my life, and this and that. And, you know, you're training all these people and just other things. But where's your legacy for your son, and where does it lead me, and where does it ripple down?
Yes.
So
you can go back and say I did this and I did that, and then you go talk to a person's kid and like he ain't, and that's a whole different.
If you ask me what's my takeaway on this show, now that we're ending, my takeaway is that my daughter is a female and she's with another female that's a pioneer in an industry, it's a professional woman, asking her questions, and they're on a peer level in the fact that they're about women making athletic strides, educational strides, and to see this bond here, that's special to me. Because had we been here with just a bunch of guys, it would have been fine. But it's you know, I appreciate you being here and taking an interest.
I appreciate her being here because I'm gonna get up earlier.
Inspiring her, you know.
If she wasn't here, it would have took me twice as long to get that laugh out of you. It took me a while. It took me a while. I get it.
So man, we thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for inviting us.
We're really excited.
So proud of what you guys have done and all the things you accomplished and stuff. And I love the fact that she's like just love boxing. You can tell she's one of boxing. That's the best thing. That's the best thing about it.
Should have made me look at my kids differently, and I have to reassess some things now with my children.
You know, it takes money to get to all these tournaments, and I didn't get the financial. Telemundo sponsored us for a while, and Burns Roofing supported us here. But you know, just the journey as a parent, you know, I have an affinity with Josh because he was on that same journey. But it's not how we started the journey; it's how we ended the journey.
That's true indeed.
You know, and I thank you for being on the show. Sierra, you have anything to say, though?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Keep winning.
Watch out, because she's coming.
She's coming.
Chop Radio, check us out. So check this out. We are not a Facebook stream. We're doing this for you lazy people. We have the website, or you'll stream www.uzd.world, not a .com, not a .net, because we are a global movement. And no matter where you see us with, what legends you see us rolling with, where you see us, wherever, we are Rhode Island to the core, just like this young lady right here, and just like start supporting the people. And I'm not talking about me, I'm not even talking about
shit, we don't have much.
Yeah.
We small, we don't have much.
We're small.
So what we have, we want to make sure we take care of and support.
We got lots of love.
Don't wait for
put them on the pedestal.
Yeah, don't wait for other people from outside or whatever that's doing something in your state or around you. Do not support someone just because they're from where you're from. But if they're doing something that deserves respect, and they're good people, it doesn't hurt to show a little love. It doesn't make you less of a person. Great. And one thing, take the time to tell them, because I've taken the time to tell other grown men that I don't even, not even my team, not even a grown man, I love you. What I say is that I've made it a practice the last year to tell people that I know that are not part of my team, that are not directly connected to me, that I see doing great, I let them know. I think what you're doing is amazing. I think what you're doing is great.
And let's start that.
What I'm doing is
Alright, on the note.
Yeah.
You think they're tough? You think they're tough? I know a 15-year-old girl. Check us out next week. We're going to have a guest. We don't want to say who. Might be somebody famous. Might be somebody underground. Might just be
Bruce Lee.
Might just be Nabi.
Bruce Lee.
Who knows? Always an adventure on the Chop Shop. We love you. Love, peace, and hip hop. Stay woke, stay educated, stay motivated. Love y'all.
Hey, I had an actual question that my daughter asked me the other day.